Welcome to the Mystic Media channel. I'm your host, Rabina Rastavan, aka the Realist Astrologer. And tonight I am doing a video about the 5 things that I love about Gemini. So, number 1, Gemini deals with communication. It deals with the conscious mind, so it also deals with everything that deals with the conscious mind. So your thoughts, your ideas, opinions, and in the whole realm of communication, Gemini also deals with speaking and writing. And my Mars is in Gemini, so I am a natural writer. I write a lot, and I'm currently writing a book. It's going to be an astrology book on planetary transit. So that brings me to my planetary transit research study. So far I've had quite a few participants, but I could always use more. So if you would like to take part in my planetary transit research study, all you have to do is send me an email with your birth information. Now, the only thing that I require is that you know your birth time. So, as long as you know your birth time, you can participate in this study. So send me an email. My email is karma3675@aol.com. That's KARMA3675@aol.com. And in the subject line, you can write transit research study, and then just provide your birth information. So that's your birth date, your place of birth, which is city and state, and the time that you were born. And then what I'll do is I'll respond, and I'll include a copy of your natal chart graphic and a computer-generated interpretation report. That's the interpretation report that I pulled from my astrology software. Now, it's nowhere near as detailed as the reports that I create myself, but it will still give you a general idea of the energy that you're working with. So I provide that as a courtesy for participating in the transit research study. And then if you complete the 4-week study, I grant you a free email reading. So if you would like to join the study, I greatly appreciate it. So I'm going to post the link to the blog that I created that provides all the instructions as well as the reasoning behind the book that I'm writing. So in the description of this video, I will post a link to the blog as well as a link to the video that I posted regarding the transit research study. So that's Gemini right there, just writing. I've actually written about 3 books, but I've never finished any, and that's very Gemini. Gemini can start things very easily, but it's hard to follow through and hard to bring things to completion. And that's because Gemini gets distracted. So with my Mars in Gemini, I write a lot, but it's hard to bring a book to completion. However, all that's going to change with this book that I'm writing. I'm approaching 300 pages, so I've definitely been putting in a lot of time and effort into this. So please, if you would like to join the study, that would be really meaningful to me, and I greatly appreciate it. So moving along. So number 1 is Gemini deals with writing, and I'm a writer, so that's why I love Gemini. The second reason is Gemini is a very funny sign. So if you know any Geminis, you'll know that, they have a great sense of humor. They often keep you in stitches. And this is due to Gemini's light and breezy nature. Gemini is very alert, quick-witted, and never misses a beat. So they make good comedians in that light. And also when you're feeling down, a Gemini can pick you up. So a Gemini can lift your spirits if you're feeling down in the dumps. So that's another reason why I love Gemini. Also, the third reason why I love Gemini is that Gemini will be your friend for life. Gemini really doesn't like to burn bridges, and they don't really like to create permanent rifts. That's only if, they'll only, totally dismiss you if you totally do them wrong. However, Gemini easily gets over conflict, and they don't like to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so they can be lifelong friends. So I love that about Gemini. And Gemini never really takes things too seriously, or it's never too deep for Gemini, because like I said, Gemini likes to keep things light and breezy. So I like that. And the 4th reason why I love Gemini is that Gemini is very flexible. I would say it's the most flexible sign of the zodiac. And when I say flexible, I mean mentally, but also physically. Gemini is a very flexible sign in terms of the physical body. And it's also a sign that can be double jointed. So with my Mars in Gemini, I'm semi-double jointed. So I can bend my arms back where it looks like, they're going back too far, I'm not going to do it on the video but yeah, I used to creep people out when I would do that. I could do that with my legs as well. So along with that, Gemini makes a good dancer, a good gymnast, a good free runner, a good parkour athlete. So if you know anything about parkour, that's where they're like running and jumping and flipping all over stuff. And my favorite form of professional sports is the X Games. I'm not really big into like football and baseball and basketball. I used to be a big basketball fan back in my late teens, early 20s. But I've always loved the X Games when they would come on. And so that includes like motocross, snowboarding, skateboarding, all that stuff. And skateboarding is definitely Gemini. Anything on wheels is Gemini basically. So, riding bikes, motorcycles, car racing, all of that is Gemini. And actually in terms of video games, with my Mars and Gemini, the race car driving games are my favorite. So back in the 80s, when I would go to the arcade, I would always head for the pole position game. So for you younger generation, you may not know what pole position is, but it was a game by Atari, and it was a race car driving game. And then even if I go to the arcade nowadays, the race car driving games are the first games I hit up, and I'm pretty good at them too. And then with the PS3, there was this game called Blur. That was a race car driving game, and I really liked that as well. So basically, the third reason why I love Gemini is the flexibility and how, Gemini is just so limber, and, Gemini can do all these flips and spins and all this stuff. So I love that about Gemini. And the fifth reason is Gemini tells it like it is. So Gemini gives it to you straight, no chaser. And for that reason, oftentimes Gemini lacks a filter. However, if you want an honest opinion, ask a Gemini. So if you want to know how you look in a dress or whatever, ask a Gemini, because they will give you an honest opinion with no filter. So you do have to have a thick skin. The only time Gemini will lie or bend the truth is if they're personally invested in something, and if something that they hold dear is at risk of being lost. So that's when they might lie or become two-faced. But if you just know them casually or whatever, and you ask them, how do I look in this? They're going to tell you how you really look, as opposed to just trying to stroke your ego. So that's the fifth reason. And a bonus reason, because with Gemini, I always got to put something extra in there. Gemini's always extra. So the bonus reason is, Gemini is the king and queen of the side eye and also subtle shade. So a perfect example is Prince. I mean, he was the king of the side eye. So just observe, some of his old videos, and also his movies like Purple Rain, Under the Cherry Moon, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But that's my video about the 5 things that I love about Gemini. And like I said, if you would like to take part in my transit research study, I'm going to leave the information in the description. And also, please feel free to provide some comments about Gemini, why you love Gemini, and also you can share some personal stories about Gemini as well. And if you would like to receive a reading, just go to my website at rabinah.com. That's RAHBINAH.com. On my homepage, I have a free numerology reading that everybody can take advantage of. And then if you would like a more detailed reading, just click order a reading up at the top, and I provide readings via email, phone, Skype, Facebook Messenger, what have you. Peace and many blessings.